I'm Chris King.
Alexander Boyd.
Today we're having Film Rundown episode 19. We're going to run on the biggest film topics of the week. I'm your host for today. Let's get started. We have several topics to talk about. A lot of comic book stuff this week. Starting off with Batman v Superman, the trailer that leaked last Thursday. I was actually at a concert when this trailer leaked, and the guest that I had with me, I started watching in the middle of the intermission. And I'm like watching it, the super bootleg version. I was holding it next to my ear. I was like in her face. I was like, here, look at this. It was, I mean, obviously pretty epic. And after that, obviously on Monday, we got to see the actual IMAX event.
Yeah.
We were there. We have the posters here. You can't really see them. And we meant to do like a little short video on it, but we decided let's just throw it in the rundown. Let's talk about the whole overall, what do we think of Batman v Superman at this point?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think this is amazing. I really like the touching upon like if you have power, people will follow. Like no matter what, this has been going throughout history. You have power, people will follow. So I like it that this is set 2 years after Man of Steel, and they're just like, okay, we see this strong guy. It's like, yeah, like he saved us. So I'm sure there's gonna be some people who are like, he saved us, and other people are gonna be like, he brought this massive amount of pain and destruction to us. So that's where it's all split. And then I'm sure Lex Luthor has the scheme of how he's going to make Batman, in a sense, against this.
Right.
So I like it. That kind of touches upon all that stuff. And I like it. The tone is kind of the same as Man of Steel. It's going to be like no hope, like there's no jokes ever. But I like it. I'm really, really excited for this.
It's arguably the best trailer I've ever seen. You know, I'm trying to think back, and the only one that competes with it is maybe the Dark Knight teaser. And so it's kind of funny to see another DC one kind of trump that one. There's other really good ones, but it just overall, it tells you exactly what you need to know. It confirms for us what we thought, and without revealing too much. You know, I love the opening kind of monologue of different characters within the film itself. Jesse Eisenberg, what he says is awesome. And then switching over to Alfred, and where you switch to the Batman side of things, you know. Yeah. That's awesome. That one shot of Batman kind of coming out of the rubble, and he goes like this. I said this is my favorite shot in the trailer, besides what we got to see. He looks like an ogre. Mm-hmm. Like he literally straight up looks like a monster.
Which is the point of Batman. He's supposed to be scary.
He's supposed to be scary. He's supposed to be intimidating, and more importantly, he looks like he can take on Superman without his mech suit. You know, like I'm sure he won't be able to, but he looks like he can, as far as from a physicality standpoint, and the suit standpoint looks amazing. So everything works. Zack Snyder has officially brought me on into the DCU with this trailer. It's just green lights. Like, go ahead, do your thing. I'm hoping that the movie stands up to this trailer because it was awesome.
A couple of things I want to touch upon.
Sure.
Zack Snyder actually stated, and you could see it, that Batman, Ben Affleck, is bigger.
Yeah.
Like physically bigger and even taller than Henry Cavill, especially in this. Like his suit will make him look even bigger. So he wants to give that like strength versus like a human brute force type thing. Other than that, if you guys read The Dark Knight Returns, it actually starts off with television broadcasts like that, people talking about Superman. So this is kind of a touch on that. It's a nod on
as well. Yeah, there was a lot of nods to that. We saw that one when he's standing on the rooftop and he has the sniper rifle.
Yep.
From the bootleg version that I first saw, it looked kind of just like the tip of the tower.
I was wondering, like, why is he standing there? Is he holding on to it?
Yeah, it looked like an empty suit. It looked kind of weird to me. But in the IMAX, we clearly saw that it's his grappling hook. You know, like sniper rifle that he has. So,
which I still don't understand.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it'll be interesting to see how he uses it in this film. You know, but the one thing I wanted to touch on is the Riddler question mark. We saw at the bottom left hand screen in that shot, the long shot of Batman way down in like the kind of parking lot alleyway. There's a little question mark there, but that is for sure not an ordinary question mark. I compared it to. I know how it looks like in my mind, but compared it to an actual Riddler question mark, and it has that curve that goes really deep inside, comes out, and the question mark itself is really wide, which looks like the Riddler question mark. Do you think that it obviously is an Easter egg and a nod to Riddler?
Yeah.
Do you think the Riddler will be established in this universe? Will we ever see the Riddler in this universe?
I think that will bump into Enigma. I think that will at least like no, because the question also is, how much of it is in Metropolis and how much of it is in Gotham.
Right.
Like right now, it seems more Metropolis than Gotham.
Sure. Yeah.
So he's probably just putting it there, and then we'll probably bump into him, like see him locked up in Arkham. When we watch Suicide Squad. So I don't know. I think that it'll be a nod like that. I actually don't think there's enough time, due to all the characters that they have, there's enough time to actually touch up on an Enigma.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Okay.
so I think it's just Zack Snyder's just like, haha, look, just for fun.
Yeah, nice little line. And the last thing I'll say about it is just as soon as we saw the Money event, we did see that last final shot of them charging at each other, which was epic, right? And
it was cool. And the best part is that we saw it twice.
Yeah, you're right. We did see it twice. So that's our thoughts on the Batman v Superman trailer. We'll make sure to keep you guys updated. That is definitely my most anticipated film of all time. I don't think that there is anything else that trumps it. Not even Justice League. You know, this movie we've been waiting for decades. At this point. So, moving on. Moving on to Wonder Woman, actually, which is 2017, I believe. 2017. This series is taking way too long to kick off. I think the whole cinematic universe. But anyway, so Wonder Woman. We know that McLaren left about a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And Jenkins stepped in.
The next day.
Yeah, the next day. So very quickly they had her on the list. They're like, okay, fine, you got the job. But I wasn't expecting to hear about why McLaren left for a while now. That's usually reporting that someone uncovers in a long time, you know, maybe close to the movie release. But we got it immediately. We know that it was creative differences. We know McLaren had a vision for Wonder Woman. I'll let you tell what her vision was.
Yeah, so this was really cool. Okay, again, we don't know if this is real. Like, everybody always states that it's like, oh, we got this from Yahoo, we got this from Variety, we got it from whatever. But we never really know what really happened, but creative differences is always something to throw up there. But this one actually seems pretty cool. It's that McLaren said that she had an idea of pretty much Braveheart. She had this Braveheart type Amazonian thing. So you will see her in her world, and you'll see her take charge of an army and so on and so forth, like actually handle some stuff. So I think that's cool. That shows that girl power. That shows that strength. But apparently Warner Bros. Had a different idea, which I don't remember what it was. What was it?
They didn't say.
Okay, well apparently they had a different idea, which kind of sucks because if you think about it, it's like we want to show her power, we want to show her strength. But I think none of that.
I think it's genius. You know, it makes total sense, and it works as an origin movie for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I think the problem here is that it sounds like it would have been a prequel, and I wouldn't have liked that to go backwards after Batman v Superman. I wanted to go forward, but I think that if they would have done Wonder Woman like this year, we had no DC. You know, this year. This would have been an awesome year for Wonder Woman, and to see McLaren do a Braveheart version of Wonder Woman, rallying the Amazonian troops and stuff, and maybe going against someone like Ares, I think that would be so dope.
That sounds awesome.
It does, but the problem is I think it would be set completely in the Amazon, and I'm sure WB wants to bring her into this world immediately, which sucks. I hope at some point they do revisit that. Maybe let her direct Wonder Woman, 2 or something. Let her do what she wants to do. That'd be kind of dope.
Yeah, another thing here is that there's this rumor that went on a long time ago, and we don't know if it's true, but it's that there's going to be the core movies. Not by core, I mean like the big movies, the Justice League. Then we'll have Justice League 2 and so on. And every other one, each character story. So like we got the Cyborg movie, that kind of stuff, or Green Lantern. They're going to be origins. So we're going to go back in time. That was a rumor back then. I guess they changed the whole thing, or maybe it was never real to begin with. But I thought that was very interesting. It's like, okay, so now you see Wonder Woman and Dawn of Justice, and Aquaman and Dawn of Justice. Now here's their story back in time, and then we'll see how they got there.
It would be interesting, to say the least. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that.
And I hate prequels, so there's that.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, that's the problem. So let's go to the Marvel side of this whole thing. Stan Lee recently just kind of up in an interview, he was doing something like a panel or something like that. Someone was asking him, what about, DC, what they're doing there? And he pretty much just stated, they're behind. They're way behind, and it seems like they're taking on a different approach, that doesn't necessarily compete with what we're doing with Marvel. Like, we have big ideas. He started to throw out Guardians 2, Inhumans, Big Hero 6 2. So pretty much dropped that bomb on everyone as well, Big Hero 6 2. So, what do you think about this whole Stan Lee's comments about DC and DC versus Marvel at this point?
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. I always like that friendly rivalry. Like, no one's gonna hit Stanley. No one's gonna hit. First off, you don't hit your elders, and then also he's Stanley. Like, people will come and attack you. I do want to go up to Stanley and just tell him to, like, in nice font, just write F Jason Momoa. Like, I think that would be pretty nice to add to this thing. But I'm for it. I like it. I think it's cute.
I'm kind of indifferent about it. Like, whatever. He said whatever. I don't think he knows anything about what's going on in the cinematic universe, but it's interesting to say the least. Moving on. The next thing is Fantastic Four trailer 2. We've been talking about it since like last week. So we've seen it, but it's the first time we actually got the time to talk about it. So what do you think about the new trailer? I
loved it. You saw his wobbly hands. You get to see Invisible Woman actually use her force rather than just I didn't even see her become invisible, but I did see her use that kind of Jean Grey force. Right, then we saw it's clobbering time. That happened. Well, from the skies, reminded me of the Hulk. Yeah. We did see Human Torch burst into flames. So we saw a bunch of stuff. We see a small glimpse of Doctor Doom. I liked it a lot. It showed a lot of the story, showed a lot of the tone. It does seem like Chronicle 2, or a different take on Chronicle. But overall, like, this trailer made me want to watch the movie. Like, I still don't know if I'll pay full ticket price, but for sure, like, it makes me want to watch the movie. Like, I would at least Netflix this thing.
Such a nice backhanded compliment.
It is a backhanded compliment.
At least Netflix, I think.
At least Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's a better trailer than trailer 1. That is for sure. I don't think anyone is arguing that. Now, there's a few things that bothered me from one standpoint. You have Reed Richards coming in looking extra nerdied out, you know, like with the, and I use that term lightly, okay? I'm just saying as far as like what they think a nerd would look like is kind of insulting. But anyway, like with the plaid shirt, the like high pants, the glasses, of course, the big old, I never even remember Reed Richards having glasses in the first place, but having these big old black glasses and stuff, trying to look extra like a nerd. Then you saw Torch being a little bit more kind of like the lighthearted one, you know, so it seemed to go back to, it reminded me a lot of the original Fantastic Four, you know, kind of like a spoof on the Fantastic Four. So I'm still not happy with, there's no way you're gonna, I mean, this movie can change my mind about it, because obviously it's taking a younger approach, which is not bad. It's just not what I wanted in Fantastic Four. I wanted to know about the mature adult Fantastic Four. But I think the one saving grace of this movie could be, I don't think they're going to approach it, is to see if, in a lot of the comics, they discover a lot of stuff how these abilities are hurting them. You know, like you have, I think, Invisible Woman, she starts to have nosebleeds, and she starts to have, I think, just kind of blood issues, you know, something to do with the, I don't know what she's doing. Torch begins to start burning a lot of his fat, so he can't maintain like a healthy kind of diet and stuff. You have, I think his organs start to constrict or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe like this is both a kind of, you know, a good thing and a curse, you know. So maybe if they follow that route, it'd be kind of interesting.
Well, Josh Trank did talk about that. He's very influenced by The Fly, Cronenberg's The Fly, and that's what The Fly's all about. The Fly's like, I have this new ability. Right. I really like it. It's really cool. Oh crap! I'll turn into a fly.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe as far as the thing is concerned, I'm sure he'll follow that. But for the rest of them, you know, we'll see. I will say that trailer 2 was much better, and it does get me a little bit more interested, you know, in this movie. Yeah. Now, moving on to Star Wars. Obviously, Star Wars Celebration was just this past week, and they released a lot more Rogue One news than I was expecting. You know, first of all, they announced that Rogue One is part of the anthology of films. They did show a little sizzle reel. They showed some of the soldiers kind of marching, and they showed like a tiny little teaser trailer of someone giving a monologue, like Obi-Wan Kenobi discussing the Dark Ages of the universe, where there was no Jedi, and they talk about how these rebels are in fact the ones who are going to be doing this heist of the Death Star plans. So there will be no Jedi in the movie, and it's set between episode 3 and 4. Yeah. So what do you think? We're going kind of back to episode the original trilogy. What your overall concept about Rogue One or no?
Okay, so they're calling it anthology, just so you know that it's not part of this the new episodes, episodes 7 and 8 and so on. So when people go in, they're like, "Oh, new Star Wars movie." So they go in there and they're just like, "Wait, what? Where's everyone else?"
Right.
So this is that whole thing, but we all know how it ends. So I guess this is something that you have to actually say, okay, it's the journey is what's important. So that's all we have. It's just this grand spectacle. Hopefully it's way more heisty, because that's what I'm expecting from here. I don't want to see them talk about the plans. When you do watch heist movies, they're like, there's the bank, there's your job, this is your job. So I guess it will add a little bit to the characters. So I'm for this. Of course, it's a Star Wars. It's spending a good amount of money for it. I just want it to be fun. That's really what I'm waiting for. It's just for fun.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I really like about it is that he brought in a lot of people from like Zero Dark 30.
Oh, yes.
And I can't remember the other movie. But films like that have to do with these big suspenseful, scenes where they're kind of breaching, Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of excited for that aspect of it. I think it's going to look beautiful, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be super dark in the end.
It is, the freaking pitch black,
yes.
Which was annoying. Okay, so Jurassic World trailer 2. A lot of trailers dropped this last week. We talked about it. It was overload with trailers, especially trailer 2. So Jurassic World trailer 2.
I love this thing. This thing was amazing. You get to see Chris Pratt be Chris Pratt, because in the earlier stuff, he wasn't really Chris Pratt. He was kind of like douchey Chris Pratt. Mm-hmm. In this one, he is just plain out Chris Pratt. He doesn't even care. He's not even trying anymore. He's just being himself. But it did touch up on a lot of stuff that I was thinking about. It's like, why would they make a new dinosaur? And like somebody brought it up. It's like, well, every time we have a new event or a new dinosaur thing, more people come. Like it's all about the money, which this is all about, which makes perfect sense. And then he's like, but they're dinosaurs. Like, shouldn't that be enough?
Right.
So
right.
I like this a lot. It touched up on a lot of that stuff. I'm kind of scared that this one is way too smart, to the point of how can you beat it? Like, really, how are you going to beat this thing?
Right.
So I'm always scared of that, because there's always, that happens in a lot of comic book movies and stuff. Like, how do you end up doing this? And they just have to make a wrong move, and it's something dumb in the end. It's like, oh, we always have this way out. It bugs me. So hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully they take an intelligent approach to it. So that's it. I'm for it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is interesting to see how much it's supposed to reflect today's society, like where they're stuck on their phones. They wouldn't be impressed with a Lamborghini in front of them. They need like these spaceships now or something. So it's interesting. We'll kind of take a little see. More than anything, I'm excited for Chris Pratt. I just want to see what more he can do. I want it to be much more action and heavy and color stuff, because I know everyone's waiting for Indiana Jones with Chris Pratt. I don't really care much for that. I want to see this guy just blow up and continue to do more projects like this. I think it'd be awesome.
Oh, something funny that you brought up that I thought of, because I was watching this podcast like 2 days ago, and the guest in there, he was a comedian, he was a star, and it's funny because you brought it up that everybody's on their phones, there's a Lamborghini there. It's like, we no longer like gawk at a Lamborghini, now we just like want a picture with it.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. He said, we don't always need to take a picture. Like, I would talk to you for like 5 minutes. I'm presenting myself, be like, hey, like let's talk. Let's have this human interaction. And it's like, no, I just want a picture with you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty great with selfies, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to Disney World. I just need to go there to take some selfies,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's what people are now. So, moving on. This is probably one of the more interesting trailers that was dropped this past week. Death of Superman Lives, directed by John Schnapp.
Yes. This movie had to be made. I'm happy that it's made, because I remember at one point I started looking up a lot of Superman stuff, like earlier Superman scripts that never came out, like J.J. Abrams one, and Batman v Superman, like back then. Well, it was Batman versus Superman back then. So I stumbled upon this before I even knew who John Schnapp was. And then later on, I started seeing like his credits. Like, I started seeing, like, I was watching Metalocalypse at the time, and I saw his name there, and I was like, this is a real person. And then obviously other YouTube stuff. And yeah, so I thought this was cool. I am so excited for this. The Avengers has to be afraid, because this is going to be amazing.
I know, yeah, it's going to compete with a big sign. Like we mentioned before, I said it before. Batman v Superman is a movie I've been waiting for. Literally for maybe more than 20 years, about 20 years. Since I've known what Batman and Superman was. Why? Because there's this period of time after the Schumacher Batman, after Tim Burton and then and Schumacher's Batman, that we had nothing in DC. We had like that Catwoman movie, and we had
Daredevil, Elektra.
Well, yeah, from Marvel, but from
Bully.
DC, we had like nothing. We had what was it, just a Catwoman, and they were working on the new Superman film. So in that period of time, that really before Batman Begins, they were trying to do Justice League.
Yep.
They were trying to do Batman versus Superman. They were trying to do Batman, I think Earth 1, or Year 1. They were trying a lot of these different types of films.
About that.
Yeah, a lot of different kinds, and one of those was Superman Lives, with Nicolas Cage. Supposed to be set in a very futuristic kind of a world, crazy light up suit and
Oh,
stuff.
that suit was...
The biggest thing, it was supposed to have Brainiac, which
Yeah.
was supposed to be insane. So this is one of those movies that I do want to find out more about why it fell apart, because we know a lot of stories, but we don't know, per se, like why they passed on it, so.
Yeah, this reminds me of that Dune, that there was something, I forgot his name. It's a very complicated name, but he talked about his thought of Dune and what he wanted to do with it. Like he had to make all the score was Pink Floyd, and it was just like crazy stuff like that. I think Prince was supposed to be in the movie, and other people, like huge people, were supposed to be in the movie. And this is what it reminds me of, because Tim Burton had this huge idea. He's like, well, I want Superman to be like this, and I want him to do this, and so on and so forth. His dad is still alive, if I remember. And other stuff. I think Zod was supposed to be his brother, and I don't remember.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was very
It was
weird.
weird.
It was out of this world,
Yeah.
and this is so interesting. I'm sure he changed it over and over again, so we're gonna see this in this movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, moving on. Now, news I know you're incredibly excited for. Transformers Cinematic Universe has been confirmed by Universal.
We need to stop. We need to stop. I don't know. I don't even know what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen in this? Are we gonna like clash with Battleship? Battleship
Oh, God.
Transformers. They look the same, anyways.
Yeah, right.
So it's like I don't care. And knowing that Michael Bay is still in it, we know it's not gonna change.
Yeah.
This is not gonna change. So now that it's confirmed, it's just kind of like, okay, I guess I have to. And that's it. That's how I feel about this. I am not for this. I'm sure that all of you are going to be really happy because we got our first, hate from your Transformers review.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, look, I mean, so it's funny because I think back and it's funny to remind me how much of a Transformers fan I really am, because it goes back to the original toys. Original toys and the original animated series, right?
Yeah.
And the original movies and stuff. Now, the Transformers Cinematic Universe could work, actually, if you think about it, just because if it was good. Because I would like to see, Transformers, let's say, 1, 2, 3, and then you start spinning off. Then you do Transformers Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Then you do Transformers Dinobots. Then you do Transformers Cybertron. Then you do Transformers, there's, I don't know what they're called, but in the old anime series, there was these, mini Transformers. And, like, Optimus Prime, he would get these, mini Transformers, and they kind of combine with him. So he'd get, a shield, and he'd get the sword, and he'd get this, really big gun and stuff. So, anyway, it goes to the hardcore lore of the Transformers universe.
I want to see him eat them.
Megatron has one, they started to search for these mini Transformers that would create, super weapons, so you can get weird with it, a lot of different types of Transformers. Like I said, I would love to see Beast Wars as its own franchise, Dinobots as its own franchise, stuff like that. I think it'd be kind of cool. But the problem is that I don't think Universal thinks that deep. Like, you saw how they murdered Dinobots in the Transformers 4 movie. They were just these weird kind of puppet,
And it was in all posters.
Yeah.
It was such a huge deal.
Yeah, they were hyping it up, and they didn't give it the justice that they deserve. So, I'm only for this if they completely reboot the franchise. They're not going to, though. So, I'm very hesitant. The question will be, are we going to see all of them? Because, I don't know. This can go wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, and it really did. It really did.
And quite frankly, I don't want any more humans in them. That's what ruins it for me. I actually, when the anime series started to incorporate kids and humans, I hated it. I never liked it like that. I wanted to be just strict on Transformers. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Now, moving on. Kind of more smack talk. A lot of smack talk coming from the Marvel Universe. Whedon claims that the Edgar Wright script of Ant-Man was one of the best Marvel scripts he has ever read. So he goes on to say that he's not sure why it didn't work out with Marvel. He thought that it was more Marvel than anything he's read before, and it was more Ant-Man than anything he read before. But he loved it. Apparently, like, he really, really loved it. So what do you think? There's always you can approach this as far as an aspect of Whedon's comments, and then as far as are we really getting the sloppy seconds Ant-Man?
Okay, so I love Edgar Wright. I have seen every Edgar Wright film, but lately I've been noticing more and more that Joss Whedon wants to hug Edgar Wright, for that awkward long amount of time that people should not hug too long. Like, it's like, stop that. Like, we already know we love Edgar Wright. Okay, Joss Whedon's a huge fan. Cool. But let's not, like, talk crap about this movie that's gonna come out. Like, we all know, Joss Whedon, you're a good director. We all know that this movie is gonna be awesome. I know that Age of Ultron is gonna be amazing. But right after that, we're gonna have Ant-Man, and you're pretty much, like, knocking this down. It's like, I understand that he's also knocking his own film down, saying that this is the most Marvel film. Like, he's even saying that it's better than not necessarily better than Age of Ultron and better than Avengers, but nonetheless, like, this is the most Marvel. This is, like, above all to do with Marvel. I get it. You're being super, super nice to him. I guess this is your call to try to work with him. I'm sure you can, but I just think that sucks for the Ant-Man movie. It's like, I'm sure that, like, people are gonna be like, oh, well, it's not gonna be like that. So, like, how you stated, sloppy seconds. It's like that's how it feels like. It's like, oh, this one's not gonna ever be as good enough. Like, it's never gonna be good enough. And that's sad. I have daddy issues, and that hurts. Like, my Ant-Man movie is already small enough.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I have to, like, not disagree, but I have to kind of, like, I guess play the devil advocate here. I guess Whedon is the devil, but I'll play devil advocate here. This is kind of what I expected. I when I heard Edgar Wright, it's kind of like saying, I think they wanted Adam McKay to do Edgar Wright, or they wanted there's someone else that they also wanted for Ant-Man, and they clearly wanted a comedic approach to Ant-Man, and not to say that it's going to be about going to a store and Ant-Man's going to be, no, but as far as taking a lighthearted approach to Ant-Man, I thought Edgar Wright, that was the man.
That was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, when you see, like, what he did with Shaun of the Dead, when you see what he did with At World's End, or The World's End, whatever it is, and a lot of other movies he's directed, he has this very, like, satirical kind of play on the real world, and that Ant-Man Trailer 2 was awesome, and it kind of felt very much in touch with what Edgar Wright probably envisioned for Ant-Man. So I only think that it's a problem because I think he's right. I think it probably is one of the better Marvel scripts we would have seen, and I'm kind of saying that I think it would have been one of the better Marvel movies we would have gotten. I think Edgar Wright would have pushed more publicity for Ant-Man. I think that's the only reason why I buy it, because Peyton Reed is not doing enough for Ant-Man. He's not doing enough. He's not on Twitter every day putting out pictures for the press. He's not having panel discussions. He's not promoting the movie at all. Edgar Wright does. He does promote his movie, and Peyton Reed is not doing that. So I'm not saying that Edgar Wright's movie would have been better, but I do think that he would have been a better director for the movie.
Well,
I think
do
he would
you
have.
think that this is Marvel actually telling him not to wait until Age of Ultron comes out? Because that's my idea. I'm thinking, like, where are these Ant-Man trailers? Because there's a long gap without Ant-Man, but tons of Age of Ultron. I think that they're waiting until after Age of Ultron comes out. Like, it's out, people are going to talk about it for a little while. Let's just start pushing Ant-Man like crazy. It's
the only reason why I would say no is because remember when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, and it wasn't supposed to be this kind of bigger movie, but they had the trailer review on Jimmy Kimmel. They had Chris Pratt go on multiple talk shows and that kind of stuff. They had the cast go on multiple talk shows and that kind of stuff. Ant-Man hasn't done that.
Yeah, not yet, until Age of Ultron comes out.
I mean, it's possible, but that's only like a month or something in between. That's not enough to get enough hype. Like, again, Age of Ultron was a Super Bowl. Did it need to be at the Super Bowl? No. Ant-Man should have been at the Super Bowl. That shows, because Ant-Man is freaking old school. Ant-Man is one of the original Avengers. And that would have touched much more of that football audience than I think Ultron would have, because they're already going to go.
Yeah, I don't think people would have cared about Ant-Man. I think still, like, to this day, people don't care about Ant-Man. So I get your point that they're trying to push it, that they should be trying to push it.
Yeah.
But I still think that even if you push Ant-Man a lot, that that's going to actually push away from Age of Ultron. I think that this is just a marketing, in this marketing standpoint, this is the smartest move to do. Like, I think they should even push back Ant-Man like a month, so they could actually add another month.
Yeah, if they push it back, I actually wouldn't be against that because, like I said, I think Ant-Man needs help and it's struggling right now.
Yeah,
so,
but I think that right now Ant-Man has the best billboards. Have you seen the Ant-Man billboards?
oh, just like they're really shrunken down.
Yeah, they're like super tiny stuff that they just put a bus stop. Like people could just pick it up and take it.
Yeah.
Like I really like that.
I mean, so we'll see. We'll see. Right after Ultron, if they really do kick in a big marketing push for Ant-Man stuff, then fine. Like I will buy that. But again, you see like with all the toys that are coming out for Ultron, all the new costumes and clothing and stuff, they have to do the same for Ant-Man because not Ant-Man will get destroyed by the next movie that comes out.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Now moving on. First photo of Captain Jack Sparrow from Twitter. It was released by Jerry Bruckheimer, actually, right? So he released the photo. It's pretty much just Captain Jack tied to like a beam. I'm assuming that's inside of a ship, and you have like two pirates next to him.
Yep.
So you saw the photo. What did you think?
Looks like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
That's all I got. Looks like Pirates of the Caribbean.
it does. It does. Does this photo get you more excited for the movie or less excited for the movie?
No, it's just Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like I'm gonna watch it because Pirates of the Caribbean. I actually didn't watch the last one. The Ends of the Earth, was it called?
No, it was it Thoughts on the Youth one? Okay. Can't remember. No, it was the
Whatever.
third one.
I don't think I'm gonna watch this. I don't think I'm gonna watch it. I love the character of Captain Jack Sparrow. I love that character. It's so awesome. But I think it should have stopped at part 3.
I think it's another franchise kind of like Transformers. They're pretty much garbage movies and they get worse and worse and worse, but they make bank.
Yeah, they do.
It's
They
a
do.
billion-dollar franchise, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do with this one. But so far, it seems like it's getting kind of crazy at this point. So moving on, more interesting technical kind of thing. WB has signed a 30-film deal with IMAX. I wasn't going to include this at first, but I was like, you know what, I'm really into this because, in my opinion, I think IMAX is the best format for movies. What about you? Are you excited for the next 30 films?
Yes, IMAX is my favorite format for films. I am such an IMAX little fanboy. And especially, I've been keeping up on all the new stuff that they're doing with the laser projection and stuff. It's just, I watched an hour long just talk about how they have to remove the prism and they have to make this whole new thing. And then they even talk about making a whole new sound that they pretty much started from scratch. And also, it's like, they're geniuses. They're tech geniuses. So this is awesome news. This is awesome news. I'm so for this. I remember when I first heard that Dark Knight's going to have like a lot of scenes in IMAX, I was like, yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes. I believe the Guardians of the Galaxy even had that IMAX scene. I was just like, it looks better. You could tell a difference, especially even when you can see the contrast ratio. But yeah, you can actually notice that too. But you see the differences, and at least I do. Whenever I watch a movie, I could tell like what's shot on IMAX, what's not.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, you can tell especially with how much is fit into that one picture. Like we saw with Batman v Superman, massive wide shots. So you could tell it's IMAX. So I can't wait until we get something